Terminology is in every industry. I come from an industry that's just rife with terminology. For example, my first job was at 14 in a sawmill. I was a young guy that was working alongside a lot of older people. It's very important to me to pull my weight. Well, I remember particularly one day early on, my supervisor, a fellow by the name of Larry, everybody called him Big Larry, great big guy, kind of came across a little bit gruff. Turned out to be a really great guy, worked with him for a long time. Well, one day Larry calls me over and to give me a job assignment. He tells me to get a wheelbarrow and a shovel and head down in the basement because there's a big pile of crap down there that had to be removed. Well, at 14, I was pretty comfortable with my ability to recognize a shovel and a wheelbarrow and how to use it, and equally confident in my ability to recognize a big pile of crap. So I take the wheelbarrow down into the basement, I load it up for the first time, and Larry had told me that this stuff had to go into the grizzlies. Well, so in my mind, that meant I had to find something that looked like a bear. So I take the wheelbarrow and I started wheeling it all over the place. And I'm not finding anything that looks like a bear. Now in my mind, there had to be some logic to it. Finally, one of the old timers in the plant comes up to me and says, "What are you doing? You're taking this wheelbarrow all over the place. You're wearing out the front tire." I explained my job assignment and said, "Larry told me to dump this in the grizzlies." Well, he gives me a bit of an eye roll. He grabs me by the collar of my coveralls, walks me over to a big hole in the floor with a conveyor belt system, and says, "There." I say to him, "That doesn't look like a bear." He gives me an eye roll, walks away, mumbling something to himself. To me, it had to make sense, otherwise they wouldn't call it a grizzly. What we want to be aware of is that slang terms and terminology don't provide the clarity that we need for young workers or new workers. And if we're going to use slang or terminology, we need to make sure we define it very well, or even in some cases do the collar grab, walk them over and say, "When I say this, I mean this."